What's up, my people? It is Sunday, 12 o'clock here in the UK, 3 o'clock in Kenya. Thank you guys for checking out the channel. Oh man, today is going to be a crazy session. Today is going to be a more chilled out, let's just talk. Let me just share a story that, shit. I don't even know where to begin with this one, man. It's just one of those stories where if I don't talk about it, I might regret not talking about it. It's just one of those things where I feel like I need to mention this. I need to say something about this because maybe someone out there is also kind of going through the same thing, you know? And I know I'm breaking the promise that I made yesterday where I was saying like I'm not going to talk about stories that didn't go into songs, but this one I had to make a song about this one, and the song that I'm going to play in the end, it's going to make perfect sense. You're going to hear this and you're going to be like, shit, man, it was just one of those it's just one of those stories where fuck, man. So anyway, I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. For those of you that are checking out the channel, thank you so much for checking out, man. This week has just been such a roller coaster of events. For those of you that know, for those of you that do talk to me, they kind of understand why I'm not as hyped up as I would have normally wanted to be. Today is just one of those days where, fuck, I didn't want to do this live. I didn't want to get on, but I feel like if I don't, it's just going to be one of those things that's going to stay in my mind. And I have to vent. I have to just get it out there. So, those of you that are watching, I really do appreciate. Thank you so much for checking out the channel. Do hit the like and subscribe and all the basic stuff that you got to do on YouTube. Right. So today's story is about when poverty is inevitable. I know I was going to talk a little bit about how I used to steal ice cream cones in high school, but I'm gonna slightly change the story because of a couple of events that have just happened recently, and but still, it's gonna make all sense. It's all gonna make sense towards the end of the session. So today I'm gonna focus on something that is a little bit closer to being a personal kind of thing, but it's fine. I'm not going to give you like all the details. I'll give you like a general detail of the whole story, so you guys at least I have this story out there, so that in the event that anything happens to me, at least there will be video evidence that a billionaire's grandson has died of as a homeless man or something like that. So I'm not saying that's the case, but at least there is some kind of evidence that this is what's going on in the family. It's a fucked up thing, and I thought about it. Should I talk about it or should I not talk about it? And I was like, what else do I have left to lose at this point in my life? After all the shit that has happened to me, and for those of you that know, I'm not gonna get into like a lot of details, but I'm gonna set like a context, I guess you can say, so that at least you guys know what the hell I'm talking about. So the story starts off with before I share the picture, what you're looking at is album art for an album I wanted to do in 2011. So this was before Give Me Credit. I wanted to call it Rap and Roll, and the album art was designed by Zain Halim. So shout out to Zain. Thank you so much for the album art. He's still into like photography and like video editing or whatever he's doing. Very talented dude, but the problem is his consistency is so shit. I don't know if he's just lazy or what, but very talented guy. If you can check him out on Instagram, some of his pictures, man, amazing. That's like digital art that he does. So I'll at some point put the link in the video description. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about, do we even have anyone checking out the channel today? Man, today is such a slow, low, messed up day. You know, honestly, it's just like I'm not even feeling that vibe, you know, like, man, it's just messed up. Anyway, so let's get into the story. So today we're going to be talking about this dude here. This dude right over here. My grandfather. Yes. Fuck. So, this guy owns 7 properties, okay? He's got 6 kids, 4 girls, 2 boys. One of the girls is my mom. There's another girl that unfortunately passed away in 2009 because of cancer. It was such a fucked up time. And anyway, so that's the family tree in a nutshell. Now, 7 motherfucking properties. Okay? So I'm going to lay down some ground about this dude over here. And then I'll tell you my story. So that when this guy comes into the picture, you'll be like, fuck. Fuck. Exactly. So, just a general gist. 3 properties here in the UK. 4 properties there in Kenya. Each property, I would say, is valued at like, so if we were to estimate it in like Kenya shillings, I would say maybe 60 million. Okay, these are like 3-bedroom houses. So he's got 3 of those, right? And he's living in one of them, obviously, and he's rented out the other 2. Okay? And then in Kenya, he's got a 6-story apartment complex in CBD. This is the main central business district town. A 6-story apartment complex. Okay? It's got like 15 houses inside all of these 6 floors. And he's got a shop at the bottom of that complex. And rental income is like, let's say, 500,000 Kenya shillings from that property. Okay? He's got another 6-bedroom mansion in Kileleshwa. All right? Rental income, let's say 300 to 400,000 easy per month. He's got a 3-bedroom house on Dennis Pritt Road. For those of you that are in Kenya, you know that this motherfucker's living next to the president. This is the house that he's living in. All right? So that's not on rent. And then he's got to go down a warehouse in industrial area that's accumulating a rental income of like 500,000 as well. Okay? So the total estimated value of the UK properties, I would estimate it at like, I'm just giving like a round figure so that you guys know, of like 250 million Kenya shillings, right? And then that's the UK properties. Then Kenyan properties, I would say 350 million Kenya shillings. Okay, that's including the go down and everything. So we could say like a total asset of like 600 million, right? So this is, you can say half a billion range, right? Now, things happened, and one of his daughters, not my mom, but one of his daughters had to move into the house that was in the UK. And I think I'll have to make like a separate channel to discuss this bitch. Okay? She's a fucking 40-year-old barren drag queen of a prostitute. Dear Lord, just give me the strength to talk about this bitch. If I mentioned how many men she has fucked, that list would throw an array out of index exception. Actually, that's a software engineering joke. That list would be longer than the phone directory. Fuck. I will make a separate channel, not even a separate channel to discuss that bitch, but that's for another day. So anyway, so back to the story. So he's not getting rental income from that, but that was just recently. Okay? That was just recently. I'm talking about way back, like 10, 15, 14 years ago. 14 years ago. So, a total asset of like 600 million back then, and an estimated rental income of 2 million Kenya shillings. Rental income. This motherfucker. Okay? And let's go back now to my story. So now I've set the ground rules. I've set the base, so you know what I'm where this dude's gonna come in. Okay, and I think there was this. Yeah, so this is the chick that I'm gonna talk about. This 40-year-old drag queen. I'm gonna be talking about her in a separate video. Yeah, there's just too much. There's too much that she's done in my life that yeah, I'm gonna talk about her at some other point, some other time. But all right, back to my story. So now that's how much this guy's worth. Now another thing you need to understand is this dude can't even speak English. Okay, he's not educated. He has just inherited all of this properties, all of this land, everything. Just his dad just worked really hard, worked his ass off, and just put it all in his name. Okay? So he didn't really work as much. He just danced a little bit around, and he got the properties. He was the only son. He had, I think, a couple of sisters or something like that. They got their share, but that was his share. So we're talking about just his share. I'm not even talking about his sisters and shit. That's just his share. Anyway. Now, for me, my life was totally different, right? My dad just had an average job. We were just trying to make ends meet. You know, he wasn't like a high earner. He wasn't, had a really good job. It was just an average job. He was self-employed, but at least he was able to pay the bills. There were days that, we had to, maybe just don't pay for internet for today, or, we didn't even have internet at that time. We just didn't used to, maybe this weekend we'd not go out for, we wouldn't eat out, basically. So that's the kind of life that I had. I am absolutely grateful, completely grateful for everything that my dad did for me. So this has got nothing to do with him. Okay, so unfortunately, what had happened in 2009 is he fell sick and he was completely paralyzed. Okay, he got a stroke, he got paralyzed, he was just bedridden. And at that time, I was just 18. I was lucky I was 18. But I hadn't even applied for my national ID. So I didn't even have the proper documentation to legally start working. I was still in high school. I was doing my A-levels. I was just about to finish. And my mindset at that time was like the way my thought process was at that time, because I'm just a kid, right? I'm just getting into adulthood. My classmates and our mindsets were like, which pen should I use to write notes today? That's the kind of mindset that I had. And now I had to move from that kind of a mindset to a mindset of, what do I need to do today so that I don't sleep hungry? My dad had no insurance, no savings. Okay? When he got sick, the hospital bills, his business, everything just came crumbling on us. And by us, I mean me, because I'm the only son. So I'm handling everything. I had to take control of the entire situation. So I was forced into becoming an adult so quickly that my head was just spinning and I couldn't even control what the hell was going on. My classmates, on the other hand, they didn't understand. They couldn't understand it. Their life was totally perfectly stable. Like they had working parents, they had stability in their life, so they were sorted. They were okay. After high school, most of them, almost all of them, had applied to go to campus to study abroad. Some of them went ahead and got married. Their lives continued. My life, it was like, there you go. It's the end. Stop whatever you're doing now. Let's start focusing on trying to put money and food on the table now. It doesn't matter what your skill set is. It doesn't matter what education you have. How are you going to put food on the table today? That was the sudden change of my lifestyle at that age. And I had no choice whatsoever. I had a lot of thoughts of like maybe I should just run away. I should run, but run and go where? Do what? I don't have a degree. I don't have any skills. I don't have work experience. I don't even have my documents yet. They're still getting processed because Kenya is another. Getting your documents processed in that country, shit. If you don't have money, you need money to get your legal documents processed. You need to pay a little sum to get your documents processed. So that's what I was dealing with. So my classmates never understood that shit. Okay? And so I used to have this one classmate. He used to be very, very religious. I never used to be as religious as he was. Okay? And he used to go to the mosque. He used to go and do his prayers and all this kind of stuff. I never used to do that as much. I'm honest. I'm just being honest about this, man. This is if I don't talk about this, right? There's no way that I can just live my life without letting at least some people know. Like this is the kind of life that I had. Like I have to share this. There's no fucking way that I'm just gonna be like, nah, I'm just gonna go to the grave with this story. Nah. I have to share this. If I don't share this, it's like I can't just, hold this in, because for years I've had this playback in my head time and time again, and it has given me sleepless nights. Anyway, so my friend, he used to be very religious. I wasn't very religious at that time. And when he found out about my dad, and just after, when my dad got sick at that time, he got paralyzed, and I used to start going to the mosque with him, and I used to start doing prayers with him. And I'm not even lying. I'm not even making this up. This is what he told me. And I'm going to read it exactly word for word. This is exactly what he said. You never prayed all these years. Do you think God will listen to you now? Someone has just posted on the comments, it's chai everywhere. Yeah. It is chai everywhere. And fucking, you have to get everything, man. Anyway, so yeah, so this is what he told me. So these were so I was already having the stress of trying to keep the family afloat, right? Trying to keep the family afloat. And then on top of that stress, I have my friends telling me and judging me like, so, in my head, and I'm thinking about it today, and I'm thinking, did God personally come to you and tell you, you know what? When Asim prays, I don't listen to his prayers. So these were the kind of people I was hanging out with. Anyway, today, my grandfather is, I think, 92, 90. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in years. Probably 92. Let's just assume 92. When he was 60, I think. I'm not 100% sure on the timeline because I was pretty young at that time. So when he was 60, he remarried. Was it 60 or 70? It was definitely 70 maybe. I don't know, 65. Let's say 65. He remarried. So this woman that's sitting next to him right now isn't his first wife. That's his second wife, right? So he remarried. Of course he can. I mean, you've got all the money in the world. Of course you can remarry. Of course you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. You're balling. Money, you have power. You've got money, you've got power. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. So this dude remarried. Now remember that. Remember that he remarried, okay? And he was sorry, what's this? So he remarried, right? He remarried, and this dude, when my grandmom, when she passed away because of a very simple complication, a simple medication, a simple medical issue that had happened to her that could have been avoided so easily. It was something that could have been avoided if he would have taken her to the hospital in time. Okay, but because this guy, because he was so he is not was stingy, he is stingy. Okay, was is like, I keep saying was because I just keep feeling like this is just a mosquito that I wish I could just squish, but I can't. Anyway, so he is so stingy that he didn't give my grandmother the proper treatment that she needed. Right? All he had to do was just take her to the hospital and pay for her treatment, whatever the treatment was. It was something to do with her lungs, and he didn't take her in time. She kept complaining, and that's the story that I heard. And my mom was telling me the same thing. And so I just keep thinking, like, the amount of greed and the amount of, like, how can one person be this greedy and stingy? And, like, man. And then I keep thinking in my head, like, these are the genes. These are the genes that he's passed on to me. And I even start thinking, I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I've even had thoughts like, do I even want to continue this type of genetic? Do I want to pass on this genetic code? Do I want to have kids that are going to have genes like this? That are going to have genes of being stingy, racist? I'm going to get to the racist part in a bit. And when that's towards the ending, you're going to hear the kicker. So stingy as fuck, greedy. He never worked a day in his life. He inherited all of this shit. Anyway. So back to my life. So you can imagine how tough my life was. I'm taking care of my sick dad. I got my sister's school fees. I got the rent. I've just gotten out of high school. Like, all that burden was just put on to me. Like, here you go, son. Do the job. And it wasn't easy. My classmates, they were just studying. They were going out. They were studying to become engineers. You know, they were perfectly okay. And the worst part was I constantly kept comparing myself to them. Someone just commented and said, honestly, that's so wrong. Tell someone, how does he know Allah isn't listening to your prayers? People need to stop being judgmental and questioning other people's faith. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I kept comparing myself to these people, you know, and today when I look back at it and I'm like, why was I wasting my energy comparing myself and my situation with someone else's situation? Oh, someone else has gone to university before me, or someone else has gotten married before me, right? And this is just real talk. This is real talk. I'm pretty sure there are people out there that are experiencing the same thing. And I kept comparing myself, and when I think about it today, and I'm like, why was I comparing myself when my situation, my life situation, was completely different. The people that were in my life at that time were they just wanted me to fail, right? It's about who you're surrounding yourself with, who you associate yourself with, and so I needed to stop but I couldn't, because I was young, I was naive, I couldn't see it, I couldn't think outside the box that my life and my situation is totally different than my friend's situation, right? They've got a working dad, they've got a breadwinner in the house, they're able to take care of things, they're stable, their life is stable. My life, it wasn't. I had to be that pillar. Okay. So, yeah, so I had the rent, I had school fees, I had food, I had medication, I had injections because my dad was diabetic now. So I had to pay for injections. And let me tell you, medication in Kenya is highly taxed, especially insulin. It's a scam. It's a scam at this point. So all of this happened, and I did this for 4 years. 4 years. Okay. By the time most of my classmates got back from campus, or they got back from whatever they were doing, and some of them came back with wives, some of them came back with degrees, and they rubbed it in my face like, "Hey, look at my degree." Yeah. So I'm dealing with my own personal shit, and then I have to look at my friends and be like, oh, okay, wow. So, and this was even before I got onto social media. So you can imagine how depressed I got even after that, because then you get onto social media and you start connecting with people that have traveled abroad. You know, some of them had traveled to Australia, Canada, UK, and they were doing so much better. You know, and you just see the pictures and you're like, wow. You know, you feel like this small, insignificant grain of sand that, fuck. Anyway, so my mom and I, we went back to this dude. We told him, look, man, this dude has a rental income of 2 million. He could have given us, at that time when my dad got sick, he could have given us easily just a small amount of money for a down payment towards a house, right? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, should I pursue my career? Should I pursue my education? Or should I continue to work on this career, right? And save up for a house? So those were the two options that I had. I had no other choice. It's like either maybe I just get into, because I thought, okay, if I venture off into saving towards a house, what am I going to do for a career? What if the business fails? What if I'm not able to sustain myself? I wouldn't even have, a career to go back to fall back on in the event that something happens, right? In that time, I was living hand to mouth. I was living for that day. When you're in poverty, you just think about that day. How am I going to feed myself today? And then when tomorrow comes, I'll think about tomorrow. But today, how do I put food on the table for today? That's the life I was living. And while I was living that life, this dude here was making rental income of 2 million. So we went back to him and we said, look, just help us out with at least one of the bills so that we can start saving up to at least put a down payment to our own house, or at least, if not my education, at least my younger sister's education, right? At least we can get her through school. Because she wasn't even a teenager at that time. She was a kid. A kid. We begged him every year when it was these special, we have these religious celebrations, we would, message him, drop him a message. It was like you were talking to the president, hey, please, could you just, maybe do something? Finally, he agreed. He finally agreed to help us out with the rent, okay? And now when he did, right, it was like after asking for years, he finally said, okay, you know what, I'm going to help you out with the rent. Now at that time, that's when I started saving up to put myself through university. I was like, I got to do this. I gotta get into a good career. I need to get myself educated. So at least it gave me some flexibility. Now, I'm not going to say exactly when, but as the years went on, I got into a relationship with a girl. And at that time, she was African. Now, I'm going to say this, I'm going to be very honest. What doesn't make sense to me is if you're living in Kenya, where 90% of the population are Africans, okay? 90% of the population is African. And then I get into a relationship with an African woman. Why the fuck does the rest of the family and the rest, and especially this dude, be like, why is he shocked? I don't understand. If we were in, what were you expecting me to be in a relationship with? Like all my friends, I was brought up in a culture, in a neighborhood where I accepted my neighbors. I accepted who I was friends with. I didn't look at race. I didn't look at color. I didn't look at anything. Nothing. It's like, how are you as an individual? Okay? So I started dating this girl, and one thing led to another, and he found out. Someone told him, I don't know who it was, and he found out that I was in a relationship. The first thing this piece of shit does, guess what? He cuts off the rental. He puts me in a position where he was like, oh, you're dating? Okay, I'm not going to pay your rent now. He made me feel like, he made us, the family, feel like he owned us, like we were a piece of property. And so it was the worst. It was the worst time of our lives. And I had no choice but to comply. It was like, should I think about getting evicted or should I date this girl? Should I think about eviction or date this girl? What should I do? I don't want to get evicted, so I guess I'll have to break up with her. And I tried to explain it to her. She thought I was like lying or something. Well, that's a story for another day. But yeah, I had to end the thing. I had to end the relationship. And this is it just shows how much money can give you so much power that you can manipulate people's decisions. You can manipulate people's lives. And that's what this guy was doing, because he knew he had the power. He could do it. He could just snap his fingers and be like, oh, okay. Oh, you want to do this now? I'll show you. Anyway. Now, a couple of years later, I think 2 years ago actually, I found out that when this dude, I can't even call him, when this dude was single at that time, when my grandmother passed away, one of his daughters, one of my aunts, found him in bed with the house help. And she was an African lady by the name Margaret or Lucy. I can't remember exactly what the name was, but yeah, this dude, this racist cunt that was trying to tell me who to date was in bed. And I don't give a shit I'm saying this. I have to say it because this is the kind of family that I have. And you feel like, what? I mean, at this point, what do I have to do? What is he going to do? Cut me off. Oh. When I heard that story, I think that exact night is when I wrote this song. And I'm going to play this song. And when you hear this song, it's going to make perfect sense. Even the intro was like fucking fire, man. So, yeah. So check this out. Check this out, man. This is how the song goes, man. This is how the song goes. I even made like a special intro because I was fucking pissed. I was just pissed, man. I had all these thoughts in my head, how my life could have been so different, you know? First, I'm gonna burn his car down. And then, I'm gonna burn his house down. Because I'd rather live alone than live with people that make you feel alone. And this is for my relatives, the hypocrites. The people that are related to me through a piece of paper that the government created. You left me out here homeless in the winter, and you live in your fucking mansion. I hustled hard on these streets to be the man that I am today. And everything that I have today is self-made. As a hustle on the streets, man. As a hustle on the streets, man. As a hustle on the streets, man. I'm under the Nairobi sun. Yeah. It was 2017 when I changed habitation, Kenya to the UK with raised aspirations. It was too late, left my friends as they gazed in admiration to live with my relatives who had staged the celebration. Placed me in a house that felt caged or encapsulation. Every explanation was a fabrication. That shit left me in speculation as I experienced tribulations. Felt like my head underwent decapitation, and the syndication of my only source of happiness drove in aggravation. Took it out on the job and made a lame application. The daily routines just became an automation, cause I hated the shit. One could call it constipation. Had it in my resignation. Flew back to Kenya ASAP to restart my life, as I felt satiation, as I reintegrated myself in the Kenyan population. Never in my life have I witnessed such allegations. Now, grandfather, why don't you hear me out? Keep your house, keep your cars, keep the property, I'm out. You got nowhere to run under the Nairobi sun. That's a hustle on the streets, man, I'm the only son. So fuck my grandfather, my aunt, my uncle and my relatives. How do I end up homeless and you own all of this? You got nowhere to run under the Nairobi sun. As a hustle on the streets, I'm the only son. Now I don't give a fuck, I might as well open my mouth and say, moments after my grandmama had passed away, my grandfather slept with an African housemaid. This horny fuck couldn't wait. What an astounding trait. But if I did the same, I should be drowned, cremate, or kicked out. We shouldn't be bound to relate. Since I'm dating an African babe, I'm flounced away, and everything I do or say just amounts to hate. The government states these people are your blood and relation, but these are the racists that cause defamation. The same people that talk shit behind your back, never expected to get love and appreciation. Man, family isn't all what it seems, hey. Those words hold no meaning these days. Wait, don't change the track, please stay, cause I got tangible evidence of what happened to me, hey. Now, grandfather, why don't you hear me out? Keep your house, keep your cars, keep the property, I'm out. You got nowhere to run under the Nairobi sun. That's a hustle on the streets, man, I'm the only son. So fuck my grandfather, my aunt, my uncle and my relatives. How do I end up homeless and you own all of this? You got nowhere to run under the Nairobi sun. As a hustle on the streets, I'm the only son. As a hustle on the streets, man. As a hustle on the streets, man. As a hustle on the streets, man. I'm under the Nairobi sun.